Do you people ever find anything that's ridiculous? Do you really think men can get pregnant? You know, that kind of stuff. And I understand that a trans woman can get pregnant. That's different than a man getting.
All right, folks, brace yourselves for this one. You won't believe what unfolded on Bill Maher's latest podcast. The discussion got seriously heated when Bill went head-to-head with Jane Fonda. I've got to say, it was one wild exchange from start to finish.
Was it about a garage door?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that is...
No, you know this about California. Come on.
No, I don't.
Well,
I'm sorry, I don't.
You don't? You've never heard that California is overtaxed and overregulated? That we are a one-party state where there's sort of no checks on that sort of extreme leftism. And that, what do you think?
I don't for a minute consider California a state that is extreme leftist. Not at all, not any way.
Well, that shows where your politics are. That's not where mine are. I'm sorry to tell you, is because that, I've been saying this on my show, there is two parts of the Trump coalition. There's about a third of this country who always loved the hard right wing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Birch Society. We're old enough to remember the John Birch Society.
I had family members who were John Birch.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
However, Maher never hesitates to stir the pot. During their talk, he didn't shy away from challenging Fonda's views on gender identity, taking aim at several of the far left's more extreme ideas along the way.
And these were people who were happy when Kennedy got assassinated. They became the birthers. They became the Tea Party. There's about a third of this country that's very hard right.
Mm-hmm.
Of course they love Trump. When he left office, he had an approval rating of 34%. So he really only had those people.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he now like tied? Because the other part of the coalition are people who, they don't really like him that much.
Mm-mm.
They just think the far left has gone so nutty on so many issues.
That's what they're being told.
That's what they...
By people like you.
Because it's true. You think the far left does nothing crazy?
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Oh, well then...
But I don't know, who is the far left? What do you mean when you say far left?
I mean, I could give you a million examples.
Yeah, well, give me one.
Okay, the NAACP...
You think the NAACP is far
Could I
left?
finish my sentence?
Yes.
You asked me for an example.
Yeah.
The NAACP last year...
Can you sense the tension brewing between these two strong personalities? You're absolutely right. It was explosive. And here's the thing. This wasn't just an ordinary disagreement. It went far deeper than that.
Travel advisory, you know, that's like the State Department does to go to, I'm sure when you went to Vietnam, they were advising you not to. There's a war on.
I didn't talk to them. I don't have no.
I know, but you know a travel advisory.
Yeah.
Today we have them for very dangerous countries. You
Yeah.
know, don't go to North Korea. Don't go to Iran.
Yeah.
You know where they issued a travel advisory for black people not to go?
Yeah.
Florida. Every day there's stories like that that just makes people roll their eyes and go, are you people nuts? Even if they don't matter that much, I don't think one person listened to this and thought, I can't go to Florida. But they just suggest something to the average person, which I completely understand, which is, wow, do you people ever find anything that's ridiculous? Do you really think men can get pregnant? You know, that kind of stuff. And I understand that a trans woman can get pregnant. That's different than a man getting pregnant.
It exposes just how deeply divided modern American politics has become. And if you're intrigued by this clash and want more stories like it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow. Let's keep this journey going together. Now, getting right to the heart of the Maher-Fonda debate. We're talking about some of the most polarizing issues shaping today's political scene. Bill Maher, famous for his blunt, no-nonsense approach, didn't hold back. He confronted Jane Fonda head-on over what he saw as the absurd extremes of far-left ideology. At the center of their heated exchange was the topic of gender identity, a subject dominating headlines everywhere. Maher has grown increasingly skeptical of certain progressive beliefs, and this time, he made that skepticism loud and clear. Jane, a symbol of relentless activism, is no stranger to passionate debates, but this time, she found herself defending ideas that Maher openly rejected. He directly challenged the gender identity narrative, questioning claims like men being able to get pregnant and emphasizing the difference between trans women and biological men.
Like insist on blurring that line as if that's some sort of reasonable social cause, as opposed to just being for having full rights, respect, and protection for trans people. We get that.
So I've never heard about men getting pregnant. I've never heard about this argument. It must be some part of what you call the far left that is so minuscule that I, who am...
No, Jane.
What?
It's not minuscule, and I'm sorry, you can't throw this back on us. I assume it's because you are locked into media that just never wants anyone in their audience to know anything sketchy about the blue team.
Well,
and that's
I mean, I don't know. I read 2 papers, and maybe I don't. I should watch Fox News.
No,
I guess.
I don't watch Fox. That's too far. But you don't have to. I'm not going to torture myself. When I head back east for the holidays, I'm confronted with something with radio at a rate. That certainly has been the history of this country, was police who were all too willing to shoot black people. So defund the police, though, was not a good idea. And you know who mostly didn't think it was a good idea was black people, because they want police in their neighborhoods, probably more than we need them.
Maher framed his position as a necessary reality check against what he viewed as excessive ideological zeal. Fonda, however, wasn't having it. She pushed back forcefully, raising her voice to defend a worldview grounded in inclusivity and respect for every identity. To her, denying those identities wasn't just disagreement, it was an attempt to erase real human experiences. Maher countered that such positions risk alienating moderate voters, who he believes are increasingly turned off by what they see as an overly liberal agenda. The exchange only intensified from there. Maher expanded his criticism to leftist ideology as a whole, warning about the dangers of unchecked radicalism, especially in states like California. He argued that California had turned into an overtaxed, overregulated one-party stronghold. Fonda flatly rejected that claim, insisting that California's policies reflect her deeply held progressive values. Their disagreement underscored a broader national debate: how to preserve a state's integrity without sliding into socialism or sacrificing economic freedom. The discussion soon turned to the media, where Maher argued that mainstream outlets have become echo chambers for far-left ideology, while Fonda defended journalism as essential to an informed society. Their clash exposed a key divide. Maher sees bias, Fonda sees purpose. Tensions rose further when police funding entered the conversation. Maher denounced the defund the police movement, noting that even many of its supposed beneficiaries have rejected it.
But the Republicans tried to catch the Democrats with this, and they put this on, they brought it up in Congress.
Yeah.
And all the Democrats voted against it. The Democratic politicians were not for defunding the police. It's that radical fringe that has captured a lot of the media, academia, some of these cultural institutions that are not liberal anymore by my old school liberalism. The ACLU was all about free speech. They don't really believe in it anymore. They believe, in one of their chief people who is trans said, I will die on this hill of banning this.
Maher also pointed out that many black Americans reportedly opposed cutting police funding, fearing it could lead to higher crime rates and less community safety. Fonda pushed back, insisting that the call to defund wasn't about eliminating police, but about demanding accountability and restructuring law enforcement to better serve the public. Later, the discussion shifted to abortion rights, another emotional flashpoint. The two clashed fiercely on this topic. Maher criticized what he saw as Fonda's unwavering support for unrestricted access and raised moral questions about the issue. Fonda, however, argued that abortion is a deeply personal decision and that the government should have no power over such choices. Her stance centered on autonomy and freedom of choice. Maher warned that moving too far left on such issues could alienate moderate voters who view these policies as extreme. One of the most charged moments came when Maher condemned the excesses of identity politics. He argued that the far left's habit of blurring traditional social boundaries threatens to erode essential societal standards. Fonda dismissed this as fear-driven rhetoric, maintaining that fear of change should never stand in the way of equality and representation for all people. Their exchange revealed more than a political disagreement. It was a clash of worldviews. Maher stood for traditional liberalism, while Fonda championed a progressive push for systemic change. Their debate reflected broader cultural divides, even among those on the same political side. It showed how fringe ideas have entered the mainstream, reshaping what it means to be liberal. Maher sees the radical left as out of touch with ordinary people, while Fonda views it as a force for justice and progress. Their clash wasn't about policies, it was about who defines the cultural narrative.